Salutations, sheeple, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Somplex0, and today we have a compilation of almost all of the Reddit stories that I've read out here on YouTube. So that way, those of you who like really long videos who haven't yet seen those stories can sit back, relax, read a book on top of this, or draw if you so choose to. Or if you just want to hear the stories all over again, you have them right here, all in one video. I do warn that some of the stuff may be a little bit dated, but this is what we're doing for now while I'm working on getting some new subreddits out for us. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. From user Sienna_Hope, AITA for not contributing much to a colleague's birthday gift. Off the bat, immediate no, but let's read. Maybe we'll see about this. I, female 30, am a part of a tight-knit team at work of about 15 people, always grabbing lunch together, taking breaks together, seeing each other outside of work a few times a month to grab drinks, talking about our personal life, etc., etc. One of them is a man who just turned 60 years old. For reference, we are all between 30 and 60. And another colleague, male 29, organized a kitty for everyone to contribute to a common gift. Wait, do they mean an actual cat? Do they mean an actual cat? You shouldn't be gifting pets, but okay, fine. I contributed $10. The colleague who organized the gift is shaming me, saying I should have put more. That he, the birthday boy, would have contributed more if it was my birthday, that I'm cheap, and that he, the birthday gift organizer, will not contribute money for my birthday. According to me, $10 is enough considering 1. We get along well, but we are only colleagues at the end of the day. 2. It is 1/4 of my weekly grocery budget. 3. There was about 20 people contributing. 20 times 10 is already a very nice gift. Let me do the math on that. That's $200. I don't need to search up to do the math on that. 4. No one organized anything for my birthday. Granted, I always take a couple of weeks of holiday during my birthday. The birthday gift organizer is a rich kid and still receiving some pocket money from his parents. Am I the asshole for not contributing more? My verdict, absolutely not. Again, 20 people are already contributing to a birthday gift. You're already very nice for contributing that much in the first place for a colleague. We're gonna read a little bit of the comments. DWinks2000 says, not the asshole. Ignore this dude. If you collected for everyone's birthday, it would get pricey. It doesn't sound like that is a part of your work culture, so he is doing something special for some reason that is his alone. I agree. Also, what exactly is the gift? Is it a kitty? Is it an actual cat? Because 1, if the OP is right and they're all contributing $10, $200 is already a lot. I don't know what a cat starter pack costs, to be fair. But either way, if everybody was contributing, you're going to be getting a pretty decent gift. Review OK929 says, not the asshole. No one is or should be obligated to contribute in a work environment, much less shamed when they actually do contribute. This guy's opinions aren't worth much. Ignore and move on. And I agree. Ignore and move on. This dude already has a bunch of other people contributing. If he wants more money from the gift, maybe he should use mommy and daddy's pocket money that he's being given to fulfill that goal. Or maybe his own salary. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Do you think that she's right? Do you think that she's wrong? I think that she's right, but if you guys think that she's wrong, why don't you guys go ahead and tell me in the comments below? From Greedy Employer 4626, we have, am I the asshole for not reminding my sister about a job? My sister had always been the quote-unquote black sheep of the family, missing out multiple opportunities growing up. We come from a family that is not extremely wealthy, but is doing fine, and my parents and grandparents and uncles have managed to provide me, my siblings, and cousins with many valuable opportunities, such as high-level education, projects, experiences, jobs, etc. I believe that everyone took the maximum advantage regarding these things and strive to make a good situation even better. As if even if there were situations when some things were almost handed out to us, we did not stall and worked hard, and we treated it seriously and literally made the best out of it. My sis, however, was never ambitious and always did the bare minimum. Switched several majors in college, ended up being in the same year as me even though she's older, never held down jobs, worked too little to count anyways, never planned for the future, always demanded and complained, the average spoiled child. Now, I said we're doing good, but again, we're not rich. My parents stressed her about getting a job, but she always sort of said, later, next week, I don't like that, etc. I work in a big company, and I have the facility to make recommendations. My parents egged me about getting her to work here too, but I explained that I can't recommend her against her will. She eventually was convinced to apply, and we began the process. At the same time, I learned that another classmate of mine was looking for a job, and let him know about the opportunities at my workplace since I could recommend both him and my sister. I started the process with both of them, and at some point needed a document from them. I asked them both, and the classmate sent it to me, while my sister had the audacity to ask me to remind her later because she can't right now. We're talking about a spoiled college student who just got back from a week-long trip with her friends, funded by our parents, who lives on her own but does nothing on her own, and who has no job. I can't fathom what would have been keeping her so busy that she couldn't send the document needed for her employment then, or at least make a mental note to send it to me later. I got angry and said nothing to her and decided not to remind her. I continued the process with my classmate and it was a success. However, my sister failed to send the document and the recruitment period ended. I couldn't help her anymore. When she found out, not that she cared, my parents asked me. She freaked. She called me an asshole for not reminding her and helping the stranger instead of family. I called her spoiled because until now, I did everything for her and all she had to do was send a goddamn photo of a filled up paper. My parents also told me, you know how she is, and I should have reminded her, but I refuse to do things for her any longer. If she wants to be a big baby, then so be it. I know I could have told her to send it to me, but again, I simply refuse to drag her after me any longer. Am I the asshole? Absolutely not. You are not the asshole. She is a grown adult woman. I don't know how old either of you are, but you guys are both living out of the house. I don't really know your guys' like whole life situation, but it sounds to me like your parents are enabling your sister. Yes, it is a good thing for parents to support their children. However, how does your sister have no job but have her own place? It's because the parents are paying for it and allowing her to continue not working for her own living. I think it would be really nice to not be paid to not work. However, that is not the world that we live in. I think that your parents should cut your sister off and try their very best to like not support her, because this is just going to continue. What's going to happen if your parents pass away? God forbid. Because if they pass away, then who's going to be paying your sister's bills? Do they expect you to do that? In this economy, you can't. Like, you can't really be trying to support multiple households. Your sister needs to get a job. Not the asshole whatsoever. What do you guys think? Do you think OP's right? Do you think OP's wrong? What do you recommend OP do here? This one seems to be a little bit of a silly one. From a throwaway account, we have, am I the asshole for naming all of my fish long and stupid names? I, 17 female, have a lot of fish with long and ridiculous names. For example, Bartholomew Davidson III and Cornelius Bohelius Jr. II. I call them Bart and Corn for short. There's more, but they're too long to list here. Just think of names with that type of vibe. All just really weird names that nobody would call an actual person, but I personally find it hilarious, and my friends do too. I had a friend, let's call her Jenny, 17 female over, and I showed her my fish. Unlike most people I show them to, she was not amused at all. She went on a mini rant about how they're fish, but they're still living beings who deserve respect, etc., etc. This is so trivial, but I think it's starting to get to my head. I obviously would never name a child those stupid names. I'm imagining when they die and hosting funerals for them and having to say rest in peace Bartholomew Davidson III. But then again, they're just fish. Am I the asshole? And before anyone asks, no, this is not a troll post. I'm genuinely stumped. I hope you left an edit, but I'm gonna give my verdict now. Not the asshole. In the most respectful way possible. I don't even think the fish can hear you call them those names. People name their cats Concrete. People name their dogs Daisy. People name their pets anything and everything. And while it'd be one thing to name a child that, you are well aware of that, and you don't intend to name a child that. In a world where people name their children Caroline, spelled Kheryne, Bartholomew Davidson III is not all that bad. Your friend is overreacting. I don't know what to do about that. What do you guys think about this? What do you think that OP should do? Do you think the friend's right? Do you think this is wrong? Let me know in the comments below. Next we have, from Responsible Bid 98, am I the asshole for ranting about how awesome my friend is to my wife? I, 33M, and my wife, 36F, have 2 kids. Amelia, 9 female, and George, 5 male. A little over 2 weeks ago, my wife went on her planned trip with her family. It was planned for months in advance, involving 2 weddings, several reunions, and meeting nieces and nephews. God, I'd cry with all that social interaction. A week before she left, I injured my leg. It was a partial tendon tear and it did not require surgery. So while it did hurt, we decided to move on with the plan as it wasn't too bad. A few days into my wife being gone, I realized that I had made a mistake. By day 5, I decided I had to go into surgery because I was scaring the kid. I called my wife to explain and she was understandably pretty pissed. She told me she could have asked one of her friends, Stacy, to pick up the kids, but the rest was on me. I told her I didn't trust Stacy. I don't. She has gotten into a DUI before, and I can get my own friend to do it. She was still mad and we argued for a while, but she ended up saying that since she could cut her trip, I could do whatever. My friend Jason has been an angel this past week. George and Amelia love him and he's been helping me too. He helped me after the surgery and even took a few days off. My wife has been checking in every few days, and today I was talking to her about how awesome he's been. I'm up and moving again, although stairs are a challenge. I'm currently living in the living room. Sally, my wife, got really mad for some reason, and I don't get why, talking about how Stacy could have done the same, Jason isn't special, and she doesn't know why I'm ranting about him so much, etc. I was quite shocked, having not expected that. And currently, she's not answering my calls. What is she mad about? Am I the asshole? Please help. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit confused. I need more context. What exactly did you say? Like, I get not trusting Stacy because I too wouldn't trust Stacy after she got into a DUI. What did you say on that phone call? OP added an edit. I have been told that this is important to mention. The reason my wife got mad about me getting surgery is because she was the one who had told me not to get it, as it wouldn't heal in time for her to leave. I agreed, thinking that I could handle the pain I could not. Okay, with that additional context, not the asshole. First of all, don't know how you got hurt, but you did, and your wife left on a trip. I get not wanting to waste all the money that was spent on flights and hotels and accommodations. However, specifically telling your husband who was injured not to get a surgery just because seemingly it would inconvenience you, that is an asshole move. It sounds like the wife is pissed off that somebody who's supporting the husband was there to support the husband. Yeah, no, not the asshole. Reading a few more of the comments, past and future days basically asks, how much do you praise and rave about your wife like this? That is valid. I would be a little bit upset if somebody who I was married to was ranting and raving about how somebody was so great, but they never did that to me. But also, that does not seem to be the wife's issue from the OP's post. But this line of, this is what I initially thought it may be, but this person says, the reason I ask is, it seems like it was a perfect storm of my husband who doesn't appreciate me, gets injured doing something unnecessary at the worst possible time, then chats my ear off about his hero of a friend who's just so amazing, when I am essentially starving for help and acknowledgement. Not saying any of this is the case, but I feel like context here is really important. This seems like a strange, quote-unquote, out of the blue way for her to react. We're gonna look at OP's comment history, actually. We're gonna try and see if we can get to the bottom of this. OP says that they fell up the stairs. They did not purposely rip their tendon to the point of requiring surgery. Yikes. Okay, we're not gonna dig too deep into this because after skimming through OP's post history a little bit, while they could be a little bit lyrical, there have been some things that like kind of break my illusion of this story is real, but that's not important. What is important is that OP is not the asshole, and we're gonna move on. What do you guys think? Am I the asshole for declining to invite a woman who has called herself a total klepto into my home? From me, off the bat, absolutely not. But sometimes these titles can be misleading, so let's see what you have to say about the situation. I joined a women's social club 6 months ago because I've been struggling to make friends after relocating to a new-to-me city. It took me a while to warm up to the group and to connect with people I actually had anything in common with. I had to wade through a lot of Botox parties and boozy brunches to find things I was interested in. But I did. And I started coming to group events fairly often. I hang out most often with the women who like to read, do crafty things, bake, skywatch, etc. Among these women is one, I'll call her Andrea, who has made several comments about how she's a total klepto. I think that she makes these comments to seem quote-unquote cool to other people in the group. I reached out to some of the women I see regularly at these events and invited them over to my place to watch the TV shows we'd been talking about and do crafty stuff. They were excited and agreed to come. Unfortunately, Andrea found out. I assumed someone asked if she was going, and reached out to me to ask if she was invited. I considered this for a bit, and then told her no, as I had only so much room at home. She didn't believe me, and asked me for the real reason, saying I thought we get along, which yes, is true. I told her I'm not comfortable inviting a kleptomaniac into my home, that I've worked hard to have the things that I have, and it would be stupid for me to invite her, knowing that she openly brags about it. She said, okay, very quietly. She then said, you're painting me out to be some horrible criminal when you don't even know anything about me. I said that her being proud to call herself a klepto was all I needed to know. She said that I was a high school mean girl and ableist. I'm not sure what the foundation for that statement is. This unfortunately has spilled over to the group, which is frustrating, but what has me the most surprised is that there are so many people defending her and telling me that I'm out of touch and take things too literally. Am I? Okay, first thing off the bat, not the asshole. However, I do feel like there are some tiny bits and details missing. Andrea could have been joking about being a total kleptomaniac, and other people at the very minimum took it that way as a joke. Kleptomania is a mental illness. However, if Andrea is actually a kleptomaniac, she is clearly aware that this is a mental illness, and no mental illness is worth bragging about. 2, I do not believe that it is ableist to not want your things stolen. And I say this as somebody with many mental illnesses. I say this as somebody who does get the urge to pick up something a little bit shiny, but I have resisted the urge. There are therapists for kleptomaniacs, so who knows what Andrea has done or what she hasn't done for this. However, if we are just to take this post at face value and say Andrea admits to constantly stealing things, she doesn't seem to have any awareness that her stealing things would make other people not want to necessarily have her around, because people do work hard for their stuff. In this economy, somebody stole my credit card once and I'm still pissed off about it to this very day. Have I gotten my money back? Yes, fortunately, but still, in this economy, either way, even if Andrea was joking and you didn't pick up on the joke, at the end of the day, if you don't want somebody in your home, you don't have to invite somebody into your home. I feel like it's fair to leave it at that. I'm not entirely too educated on kleptomania, so who knows? But that's my opinion on the situation. I would love to hear from you guys. What do you think? Is OP in the wrong? Is OP in the right? Do you or anybody you know have kleptomania? I'd love to talk with you guys in the comments. For now, let's move on to the next story. Trigger warning for the next story. It does involve the death of a pet, so if that's something you're not in the mental space to hear right now, go ahead and use the timestamps in the description below or on the navigation bar there, and go ahead and skip to the next story. I completely understand it, and I will see you there. Am I the asshole for telling my older brother he deserved to be dumped after he made fun of me for crying? Hey Reddit, I'm a 15-year-old guy, and this week has been one of the hardest of my life. My dog, Romeo, passed away unexpectedly a few days ago. He wasn't just a dog. A lot of people get what I mean. He was my best friend and the closest thing to me since I was 3. I didn't think it would hit me this hard, but it did. Now, here's the thing. My older brother, 20 male, is a stereotypical tough guy. Super popular, full of confidence, high school musical type of shit. But he also has a bad habit of dismissing anything that doesn't fit into his worldview. We've never been that close. He thinks I'm too sensitive, and I think he's a bit of an ass, but I genuinely thought he'd understand how much Romeo meant to me. I mean, even if he didn't care about Romeo, he would have at least respected that I did, right? You guessed it. He didn't. Yesterday, I was sitting in the living room looking through old photos of Romeo on my phone, and to be honest, I was crying, and I thought I was alone. Then my brother walked in, took one look at me, and started laughing menacingly. It literally sounded like Doflamingo from One Piece. He said things like, "You really crying over a dog?" and "Man up, it's just an animal." I tried to ignore him at first and asked him to stop, but that just seemed to make him even more of an asshole. He kept going, saying things like, "What's next? You gonna hold a funeral for him?" and even pretended to cry in a mocking way. I don't know what changed in me, but I snapped. I was hurt, angry, and just so fed up with how shitty he was being. I remembered that not long ago, his girlfriend of 2 years had broken up with them. Ever since, he's been moping around the house, blasting sad breakup songs, and talking to anyone who will listen about how heartbroken he is. So I looked at him dead in the eye and said, "At least my just an animal loved me. Your girl clearly didn't love you the way she cheated on you. At least my dog died loving me. Your girl is still alive and didn't love you." He froze, completely silent. Then his face went red and he stormed out of the room without saying a word. Fast forward to later, my parents heard about what happened, thanks to him of course, and told me I was out of line. They said I went too far and that I should apologize because what I said was cruel. But here's the thing, I don't feel like I owe him an apology. He mocked me while I was grieving, dismissed my feelings, and only stopped when I hit him where it hurt. I know what I said was harsh, I know it wasn't the nicest thing I could have said, but honestly, he started it. If he just showed me a shred of emotion or even left me alone, I wouldn't have gone there. Now my parents are pressuring me to make things right with him, but I don't see why I should have to apologize when he was the one who started being shitty first. Am I the asshole? Immediate no. Oh my god, absolutely not the asshole. No one should be going around mocking somebody else's feelings. Nobody should be going around mocking somebody else's grief, let alone the grief of their younger brother who is 5 years younger than them. I've lost multiple pets over my 22 years of living. If anybody had mocked them about me at any point, I feel like it's fair game. If you decide to mock or insult somebody, receiving mocking or insults in response is completely fair game, especially if that person is your sibling. I hope that this kid's parents understand that what the older brother did, the older brother who is a grown adult compared to a freshly teenager. I'm not even gonna finish that sentence. What do you guys think about the story? I'm just gonna leave it at that. We're gonna move on to the next one. Our next story is, am I the asshole for no longer updating my ex on our child's school stuff? I split up with my ex almost 2 years ago. My child started school the same year. My ex was never too involved in our child's educational needs, even when she was a toddler. I handle it all myself. My child's school offers multiple apps and websites. You can be up to date with everything without ever having to contact anyone. I asked my ex repeatedly to at least get the main app so that I don't have to keep reminding him of important dates in our child's progress. He didn't care. Just a few examples. Whenever I asked him to make a plan for any school break, he'd ask when the school break is. I sent him links to the school website, but he couldn't even be bothered to save a screenshot / make a note of the dates, etc. So he asked again the next time around too. He couldn't be bothered to update his phone number in the school records, so the office couldn't contact him during an emergency. I informed him about all the parent-teacher meetings. He said he couldn't make it, and that it made sense for me to go because he didn't know the teachers. Even in September, when neither of us knew the new teachers, side note, he doesn't work, I do, so I thought it was logical to have him attend so I wouldn't have to take off work to do so. I'd send him important dates, school plays, any shows, sport events, etc. He'd pick and choose the ones not involving much interaction. Reading together on World Book Day was a no-go, but watching the kids race was okay, etc. I'd even invite him to events organized by any clubs my kid is in, clubs I organized and paid for myself, but he always had an excuse unless the events fell on his weekends, and even then, he'd sometimes ask me to swap the weekends. I accepted it for over a year for the sake of peace. I wanted my kid to see her dad support her achievements too. But it's been so long, and I'm just tired of having to both handle the responsibility and remember to give him updates about it. It also felt like I was trying to make him involved when he clearly wasn't interested. So last autumn, I announced it to him, that it was on him to stay up to date with our child's school stuff. I gave him 2 weeks to get everything sorted. I even listed the important apps / websites so he wouldn't miss anything. The only one I didn't share was a payment portal, as I knew he wouldn't care about that one. I promised to still share any information passed via written notes, letters, etc., as obviously he would not have access to those. I followed through with it. It took him 2 months to realize what's happened, and now he's furiously saying that I'm using the child against him. He got his family involved, and now they're all bombarding me with texts saying I'm the asshole for doing it to him and our child. His mother also pointed out that she'd done everything herself as well and didn't involve her husband in school stuff, so she knows it's not that hard and I'm being dramatic. Am I the asshole? Well, his mother should have raised him properly. No, you're not the asshole. You told him what you were going to do. You've been holding his hand this entire time. You gave him all the tools that he needs to make sure that he is involved in his child's life. He is clearly not interested. And overall, that just genuinely sucks for the daughter in this situation. But he has all the information. It was never your job to hold his hand about this in the first place. You held his hand for long enough, and he has all the information to do what he needs to do. It doesn't take long to download a few apps or sign up for email updates. It doesn't take that long. And if he desperately needs somebody to do it for him, clearly his mother should, because he obviously wasn't raised right. So maybe she needs to try that over again. But what do you guys think about this situation? I don't think OP's wrong about how she handled this. The only thing, and I don't even feel like this is deserved, but if she wanted to, could possibly make a shared Google Calendar. That is what me and my partner have for certain events. However, I have a sneaking suspicion that he wouldn't even sign into that or check it in the first place and still ask for her to do it. And she's already done enough over that year of holding his hand when it comes to dealing with child stuff. So that's my opinion. What do you guys think about it? We're gonna go on to our next and final story for the day. Am I the asshole for getting agitated about my 22F boyfriend, 24M, setting 3 to 4 alarms when he has to wake up? Some more context. I don't work right now. I'm starting a new job February 1st, so I definitely have been doing my fair share of sleeping in. I'm also someone that struggles to go back to sleep after I'm woken, but I can usually manage okay. My boyfriend has been waking up at 7 a.m. or so, and sets an alarm for 5:30, 6 a.m., and 6:30 a.m., so he can slowly wake up. I've never had a problem with 1 or 2 alarms, especially when they're close in timing. But this pattern has me finally just starting to doze off at 5:59, right before the next alarm, and then 6:29 a.m., etc. I've tried to explain that this agitates me. While I understand his reasons, it would just help if he said just 1 or 2. He explains that since I've been getting to sleep in, it shouldn't matter. Fair point. So anyway, I have been tolerating the alarms for a bit, and I haven't mentioned it again until today, when I couldn't go back to sleep after the first alarm and my boyfriend started snoring. And I won't lie, I was kind of peeved when he officially woke up. He wanted to be affectionate, which we almost always are, not necessarily coitus, usually cuddles, and I just wanted a bit of space. He asked why, and I did say it was because of how I hadn't slept since 5:30, and he immediately got annoyed that I was being dramatic about the alarms, and that I'm making a problem out of nothing, and that he needs to get up at this hour and I don't. I genuinely had no intention of starting anything that early in the day, so I apologized and kissed him goodbye. Ironically, when he sets those alarms, I don't actually get to sleep in like he thinks. He gets more sleep than I do, since I struggle after 5:30 and get up when he leaves. My only goal is to not have tension at the ripe hour of 5:30 a.m. on the days he works, but I don't know how to wrap my mind around communicating about it in a different way. I was hoping that when I start my job, I wouldn't have to deal since I'd be waking up earlier than him, but I know for a fact that if I have to wake up at 6 a.m. and he sets his 5:30 alarm, I'll be so peeved. My boyfriend is a fantastic guy, and we're usually good at communicating, but this whole alarm thing has me stumped. LOL. Okay, not the asshole. Me personally, I am a multiple alarm type of person. However, my alarms are not 30 minutes apart because that is just enough time for me to go back to sleep. If I need to be up at 5:30, I typically have one go off at 5:25, 5:30, 5:35, 5:40. And mind you, all of these alarms are going off on my Apple Watch, so that way I do not wake my sleeping partner. I am the only one feeling the vibration of my watch. If he wishes to continue to set multiple alarms, I do recommend some sort of device like an Apple Watch, so that way you don't get your sleep interrupted. Sure, you're quote-unquote sleeping in, but you're waking up at 5:30 and he is aware of how his alarms are affecting your sleeping schedule. My advice in this situation would be either A, insist that he get an Apple Watch himself or some sort of smartwatch device or something, or just some sort of alarm that only wakes him up. if you feel like being so inclined, or look into options together, but you're not the asshole for not wanting to be woken up by other people's alarms. I myself, even with my multiple alarms, still struggle to wake up. However, on nights that I know that I'm going to struggle to wake up, I sleep elsewhere and then set a singular alarm on my phone all the way across the room where it's difficult for me to reach, so that way I will be woken up and I will have to get out of bed to turn off that alarm no matter what. Your boyfriend needs to figure out ways to figure this out without waking you up. There are ways to do it, and he's being an asshole. You are not. Anyways, that's all I have to say about that particular situation. What do you guys think? Do you guys have any tips for OP and her boyfriend? Or me? I would appreciate tips. Help. All half joking aside, I hope that you guys have enjoyed today's stories. Those are my thoughts on the situation. I would really love to hear your guys' thoughts on the situation. AITA for setting an ultimatum regarding my sister's boyfriend. Crazy start, but okay. I, 21F, have met my sister's 22F boyfriend, 22M, 3 times already now. The first time I met him, they were in the talking stage and it was in a group of others. However, he didn't say a single word to me or even introduce himself. For context, I didn't know any of the people there, and they were friends with my sister, met at a program she was doing. Okay, immediately asshole score grammar. She asked me to come to her celebration day when she finished the program. However, he did not speak to me at all. Even when we were all speaking as a group, he didn't say a single word. The second time I met him, I came back home from a 3-day trip and he was in my bedroom, which I share with my sister. He didn't make an effort to talk to me at all, even when I was asking him lots of questions, which I thought was really rude. I'm the kind of person who usually holds on to first impressions, but I thought 3rd time's the charm. So we organized a board game day, which is one of his massive interests. I asked him a lot of questions to initiate conversation, only to be met with 1-word replies and not a single question back. I even made an entire meal for him and he didn't thank me once, only thanked my mom, who had played. Okay, this person, the way that they spelled mom is M-U-M, so they're clearly British, so the rest of this is going to be read out in a horrible British accent. And only thanked my mum, who played no hand in the cooking. I told him I did the cooking. Me and my sister are incredibly close. We're best friends. And every time I hear her talk about him, I get irritated and angry because of how he's acted towards me. Because of this, after the 3rd time, my sister had a word with him, and he cried, saying he has really bad social anxiety. My sister makes a conscious effort to get along with his family and gets along with his parents, grandparents, and even plays with his little sister. He expressed how happy it makes him that she did so, yet he doesn't do the same for us. He even stated how much he wants to get along with us. I understand that he has anxiety, however, he clearly made an effort to get to know my sister, who is a complete stranger. They've only been dating for 3 months, but it makes me wonder why he can't make an effort with me when I have been so accommodating. The board game day happened about a month ago, and I said to my sister, I would change my perspective of him if he initiated a day for us all to hang out and made an effort with me. But he's yet to do it. So I told her today, if he doesn't plan a day in 2 weeks' time without her asking him to, I won't be giving him another chance. I explicitly told her not to tell him about this ultimatum. I understand I don't have to like him. However, my sister is really upset that we don't get along, so I told her that he has to make the effort. AITAH for giving this ultimatum and setting this boundary. She loves me a lot and clearly loves him a lot too, so I can tell my perspective of him is hurting her a lot, but I can't hide how I feel. Am I overreacting? Okay, apologies for the horrible British accent, but I had fun doing that. So, I don't think we need to have a conversation about how this person is an asshole. First of all, like this top comment from Digging Heaves says, literally, how can you give an ultimatum about a relationship that has literally nothing to do with you? First of all, giving ultimatums in the first place, not fun. Not fun whatsoever. Also, additionally, I understand being a little bit upset, like, hey, you thanked somebody else for my effort. So I can kind of see where he might be wrong there. But I think this sister, the OP of the story, has a very bad codependency issue in relation to her sister. They're 21 and 22, and they're acting like they're 13 and 14. She's behaving like a child whose best friend is getting other friends. So yeah, moving on. This one was titled AITA for giving simple advice. Very curious to see what the advice is. I, 18 female, was hanging out with a few friends, and one of them is this guy, 18 male, who just got his first girlfriend, and we were asking him questions and stuff and talking about it. He mentioned how happy he is and she's amazing and he can't believe it, and like he was holding her hand, and the whole time he was just giddy over it. And all I then said was, that's kind of an ick, not gonna lie. Comes across a little desperate, clingy, needy, and to tone that down. Because even if he thinks he doesn't express that too much, he definitely probably does without realizing it. Instantly, the group jumped on me for that. The guy himself, not so much, but the few others were all like, why TF would you say that? And that there was no need, and to stop trying to put him down and no one asked, etc. It's a bit of an immature group, so I just accepted that for what it was. Someone asked him if they had coitus, and he said they've done stuff, quote unquote, and made a comment about being too nervous to perform cunnilingus because he has no idea how to do that but really wants to try. I say if they're already doing stuff, why didn't he try? Sounded like he didn't even ask her. And I went on to say, not just in that context, like beyond intimacies, but like others. Like, this person says like way too goddamn much. But in others, like just is general. What? You're the asshole for not being able to grammar properly. My God, I can't read this. Just in general, it's a bit immature and not good if he's going to be apprehensive about stuff because he's nervous of what she thinks. He should be confident in the relationship. To which I was told, literally, why are you here? Absolutely no one is asking you to go off about any of this. And other stuff was said. Basically, it was wrong to give innocent advice even though it was constructive, helpful, and respectful. That is so funny. It was none of the above. It was absolutely none of the above. Okay, first things first. You're talking about this being in a quote-unquote immature group. Meanwhile, you're the one here acting like a literal child. People already jumped down your throat once for attacking somebody, for expressing their emotions. I'm not gonna go into that, but it is perfectly okay to be excited and happy in a new relationship. And if the girlfriend doesn't like that, then boo-hoo. Maybe you're the type of girl who doesn't like that. That's fine, that's whatever. But he's not dating you. To me, a little bit, it kind of sounds like you're jealous about the fact that he's in a relationship and you're not. Maybe you are. Maybe you are, I don't know. But to be honest, I personally wouldn't want to date you. Like, just looking at your personality from this post. You told him, stop being so forward with your emotions. And then you're like, why aren't you being more forward with your emotions? Like, a bestie, do your friends a favor and find people to hang out with that are more like you. Because your friends don't deserve the BS behavior that you are putting them through. This next story is titled, AIO Divorcing Husband Over a Theory. I don't know what AIO means. I'm not gonna look it up. We're just gonna keep going. I, 30 female, am a chronic overthinker, and due to past trust issues in this relationship, I'm dwelling on a potential relationship ruiner. We have been married for over a year and together for much longer, through thick and thin. My brother-in-law, 21M, is not even engaged yet, but he has a long-term girlfriend that he will undoubtedly marry. My husband will be the best man. I'm a bit worried about the bachelor party. It's a boundary for me to have no strippers in this relationship. But because my brother-in-law is so young, he will have an unruly party and has crazy friends. My husband won't plan strippers, but I'm worried the night will involve something I am uncomfortable with. Something I will divorce over. Don't talk about the right/wrong of my boundaries. They are not negotiable. So the question is, do I cut my losses now? Why waste the next couple of years when I feel like I'm facing a probable expectation? Is there a way around this? I know this situation hasn't actually unfolded. That's why I might be overreacting. Might? But also am reasonable in my marriage expectations. Help, if I do nothing, I will dwell and build resentment. husband won't talk this out with me. And then really quick, this person added an edit. I won't actually divorce now. Y'all ripped me apart. I get it. Is it reasonable to consider divorce if this situation did unfold in the future? Likely or unlikely? Okay. I'm not going to assume what the past trust issues were, right? But first things first, a relationship can't exist without trust. And it does not sound like you trust your husband at all. But also at the same time, you're saying things like, my husband would never do this. But typically, when it comes to things like what happens at a bachelor party, that's planned by the best man. Maybe friends and stuff pitch in. I'm not sure. I haven't been a part of a wedding party yet. But from my understanding, the maid of honor or the best man is typically the one in charge of planning what events and activities happen. I'm not gonna lie, your thought process here is very confusing to me because you say, my husband would never do this, but my husband might do this and I should divorce him over that. Girly pop, first of all, why are you divorcing somebody over things that you think they might do? 2, I think you need to talk this out with your husband. Establish a boundary saying, hey, this is absolutely not cool. If this happens, I will divorce you. That is a valid boundary to have, not wanting your husband or significant other to interact with strippers. What is not a valid response, however, and I will preface this by saying, you can break up with somebody for literally any reason. If you wanted to break up with them because the sky was blue, knock yourself out. However, divorcing somebody who hasn't done something yet just because somebody else might have a ruly party. By the way, the brother-in-law isn't even engaged yet. Mans is like 21. And while yes, people do get married around that time, how long-term are we talking here for long-term girlfriend? I get it. I'm an overthinker too, but girly pop, go to therapy. I have too many words. Like, reading this one, I didn't think it was going to annoy me this much, but it did. It did, and we're going to move on to another post. This one's titled, AITA for showing up to my daughter's wedding uninvited. I, 55M, have 5 kids. At least I think he has 5 kids because he put 6, but then he only lists off 5 of them. So I'm just reading and assuming he meant 5. Ellie, 28F, Justin, 26M, Tess, 20F, Miles, 15M, and Mia, 13F. The older 3 are from my first marriage and the younger 2 from my second. I was married to each of their moms for about 10 years. Around 3 years ago, I decided to leave my wife, Lisa, 50F, the mother of my 2 younger children. I was very open with Ellie about this. Your daughter? Okay. I was very open with Ellie about this, as she was the only one I could really talk to about it. Things were really hard at home for a while, and I did cheat on Lisa before I asked for a divorce. Of course you did. Lisa found out I was at a bar till late one night, and I used Ellie as an alibi for the evening in question to reduce suspicion from Lisa. Lisa never found out about the truth, but Ellie did. Ellie was furious with me, but did not tell Lisa. Tess, who was 17 at the time, went back and forth between my residence and her mother's house. With all the fighting and tension at my house, she asked to stay with her mother more. Ellie and Tess are extremely close to the point where Ellie calls Tess her quote-unquote first child. Their mother and I were not around a whole lot while Tess was growing up, and she would take care of Justin and Tess often. Tess confided in Ellie about wanting to move on, and Ellie encouraged her to bring it up to me. Ellie privately spoke to me about it, and when I told her it was none of her business and that her opinion doesn't matter, she replied, when none of your kids talk to you, don't be surprised. Over the next few months, I would try and call Ellie to confide in her and talk to her about my problems, and she stopped taking my calls and eventually stopped responding to my text altogether. Tess moved in with Ellie the day she turned 18, and I have barely seen her since. Fast forward to now. 2 weeks ago, my daughter Mia told me she needed money for a dress. I asked her why, and she said I need a dress for Ellie's wedding in 2 weeks. I didn't even know my daughter was engaged, and I have never met the man she is with. I found out the details from Mia, who had a copy of the invite on her phone, and I showed up to her wedding. Immediately upon arrival, Justin and his friends came up to me and told me to leave. I refused and said I had a right to see my daughter get married, but they persisted. We started arguing arguing and my younger kid's mom came over to me and told me that Ellie does not want me there, so I left. It's actually crazy. Oh my god, I have so many words for this. I sent Ellie a letter a few days later detailing how hurt I was by her actions and her just cutting me out of her life for no reason. My son Justin saw the letter and said I was an a-hole for doing that, and now I'm second guessing it. Am I the asshole? Too long didn't read. Daughter didn't invite me to her wedding, but I went anyways. After being kicked out, I wrote her a letter detailing why I was upset, and my son said I was in the wrong and now I feel bad. Oh my god. Okay, oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. First things first, why are you using your child as a therapist? Your child is not a therapist. Even if they were a therapist, I don't think they could ethically be your therapist. 2, why are you using your child as an alibi for your cheating? What the is wrong with you? 3, it really says something to me that Ellie did not invite you to her wedding, but she invited one of your ex-wives, who is not her mother, to her wedding. I really want to see Ellie's side of the story, because even from your side of the story, I can tell you are an asshole. You use your kid as a therapist. You blame her for kicking you out of her life, despite the fact that you used her to cover up your horrible actions. And then you send her a letter saying, I can't believe you hurt me. How could you do this? How could you not invite me to your wedding? Literally shut the f*** up. Like, I don't even think this is something that like therapy could fix. I think you just need to be alone. That is what you deserve. Moving on. This one is titled, Am I the asshole for calling my friend privileged after she helped me? My friend, 35F, and I, 35F, are high school friends and we still live in the same city together. She is a software engineer and I'm a nursing attendant. The benefits she gets are insane. Work flexibility, unlimited PTO, work from home, etc. I love that for her. That's the only stuff I know about. There could be others. Not to mention, even though I don't know her salary, it's much higher than mine. Even compared to nurses, which also requires a bachelor's, her benefits are much better. I often feel jealous and mad at myself for not pursuing education and getting a cushy job that doesn't involve bodily fluids. I know I'm not good with computers, so what she does isn't an option, but my job involves shift work, verbal abuse, and occasional more and constant drama from everyone. My daycare ends at 6 o'clock sharp, and I was basically commanded into staying at 7 due to staffing shortages. I didn't want to, and when I called the daycare, they said I had to pay $75 for a member of staff to stay another hour and a half. My husband works nights and went to work at 4, and my in-laws weren't answering my phone. So I was panicked. I make less than $40 for that extra hour of work, so it wasn't worth it. I remember my friend isn't that far from the daycare, so I asked if she can pick up my son. She said sure and picked him up to her house until I could get there. I kind of read ahead a little bit, and this next sentence like pissed me off a little bit, especially seeing as this is Am I the Devil, and everybody here is literally asshole. I picked him up and she already had dinner ready and asked me to join them, and I felt weird refusing, so I stayed. Afterwards, we sat on the couch a bit and she is still working and brought her laptop to join me. I asked her why she was working so late and she laughed and admitted she got a massage midday, so she wants to make up the work. I was shocked and asked her how her work can allow it, and she said they don't care as long as the work is done. I told her she was insanely privileged and she got annoyed and told me that it was part of her work benefits and her boss goes on a bike ride every day, so it is an expected thing to be able to do when working from home. I said sure it is for her, but the rest of us would never even dream of something like that. She shrugged and said there was downsides to her work too, but I admit I was kind of pissed she cannot admit her privilege and said it's nothing compared to healthcare. And she got mad and told me if I didn't like it, I should just leave. Not complain how privileged she is. I left after that, and she hasn't responded to our weekly morning walks. So I'm wondering if she's still mad. I think she is dismissive and thinks that leaving my job is so easy without more education or skills. I know neither of us are privileged in the traditional sense, as neither of us are white or rich, so she probably doesn't feel like she is. Okay, first of all, girly pop, you are making $40 an hour. like, first of all, maybe I'm not really sure how this works for babysitters because I'm not a mother. Well, I am a mother to 2 lovely baby boys. They should be up on screen now, but not in the traditional sense, right? I don't really know how babysitting works, but I'm sure, right? Hire a 16-year-old who like lives in your neighborhood to be able to pick up your kid from daycare. Or maybe, hear me out, develop a time machine, go back in time, and stop yourself from being an asshole to your friend who is using her privilege to be able to help you out. Yes, it is very nice that she gets to work from home and basically work whatever hours that she wants to while you are commanded to stay until 7. I agree that that sucks. However, I don't know what you expected when you told your friend, how dare you be privileged, while actively abusing her privilege to your benefit. I think that you have ruined this friendship. Maybe if you grovel enough, you can learn from your mistakes, but even so, I don't know. If I was the friend in this situation, I would probably never help you again. Why aren't you just happy for me? Why are you complaining about the fact that I'm able to save you money and pick up your kid from daycare? I don't know. What do you guys think about this? How do you think that OP could potentially fix the situation? Maybe I've just been jaded because I've been listening to Reddit stories for so long, but I couldn't see myself wanting to continue this friendship. This one is called AITA for criticizing a girl who ruined the stage play. Me, 17M, and my friend, who I will call Amy, 16F, are members of a theater troupe outside of school which performs musicals and other stage plays. Recently, a new guy, I'll call him Rob, 17M, joined cast of our new play alongside his friend, who I would call Natalie, 16F. Unfortunately, despite everything going well in rehearsal, the stage play turned out to be a huge fail. During the scene where Natalie was supposed to have a solo moment, she just froze on stage and didn't speak at all. I started telling her that she should do something, but she just didn't move. I wanted to improvise, but then Rob just went on stage and just summarized the scene to the audience instead and told us to skip this scene. I guess you all can imagine that the audience wasn't impressed with this absolute shit show that was going on stage. And it looked like everyone didn't even rehearse and forgot their roles. I'm still like, I still have to read the rest of this story, but I really don't like this dude's vibes. For those who are just listening and not also reading what's on the screen, my guy is cursing up a storm. I have to skip over it because like, I don't know how much YouTube will let me curse, but he is cursing up a storm. He is unnecessarily aggressive. And I don't really like that whatsoever. Afterwards, I called Natalie out for forgetting her lines and she tried to apologize. I was mad at her and I yelled that I didn't want to hear any apologies right now. She also said that she didn't forget her lines, but she couldn't speak to the audience because she had a bad stage fright and got too stressed because of too many people watching. To which I told her that if she's too scared to face the audience, maybe she shouldn't even try to be an actor. After what I said, Natalie started crying and left. Rob kept defending her and he told me I went too far with criticizing her and that I shouldn't call her out because she already feels guilty, and because she's my fellow actress in the cast, I should support her instead. I snapped at him because this play was important to me, and he accused me of being selfish and only caring about how I feel. Then he started insulting my acting skills and said that I don't have what it takes to be a star and that he quits the cast. Amy tried to calm me down and assured me that she had a lot of fun during the play and asked me if I feel the same. I yelled that I didn't have any fun because I was stressing about the play being terrible. I think it was reasonable that I got mad at Natalie, but I feel I may have acted like a jerk because Amy is still upset after how I acted after the play, and she said she lost the motivation for theater because last play left everyone unhappy. So, MITA for calling Natalie out. Okay, first of all, you didn't criticize Natalie. You didn't call her out. You yelled at her. I don't know anything about the background of this acting troupe, right? I don't know if you guys are getting paid. I'm not sure if this is a thing that's just for fun, but it is literally never that serious. You basically yelled at a coworker. You yelled at a coworker, caused her to run off crying. You caused multiple people, assuming Natalie also quit. You caused multiple people to quit this theater troupe and lose their motivation to be in a theater troupe, which I'm assuming was just supposed to be for fun. All because it was important to you and somebody else messed up? My guy. First of all, I don't see where you get off yelling at people. Yelling is never appropriate. Literally learn to control your emotions. Yelling is never appropriate. I get that you are technically a child, but you are basically an adult. One day you're going to yell at the wrong person and get punched in the fucking face. But that's just me personally. You're an asshole. You're the asshole. You need to learn to control your emotions at the very minimum. AITA for staying up late to eat crackers. Something tells me that this isn't about the crackers. My girlfriend, female 28 of almost 3 years, told me that she's been losing respect for me, male 23, because of my irresponsibility. This was prompted with my action of staying up later than I should have on a work night because I was going to make crackers and cheese before bed, but I got caught on a limited time event and mobile game I play. I was only on my phone around 50 minutes. In the middle of me playing, my girlfriend asked me why I couldn't play tomorrow and telling me we need to go to bed soon. Can we please make our snacks now? I felt really rushed and hurt, and I didn't want to explain to her that this was a time limited event, so I just decided to finish the whole event in that 50 minutes. I finally got up to go and make the snack as it was only 30 minutes past when I was supposed to sleep. And that's when she tells me, this is why I feel like I'm losing respect for you. You're not very responsible. I was really upset, and this might be where I'm the asshole. I told her she's annoying and that she doesn't get to dictate how I spend my time before work. She replied that she also has to get up early too and doesn't like missing sleep because of a chronic health condition thing, and that I never care about making her feel comfortable before work. She works so early in the morning that I just go back to sleep. There's not really any time to do anything, so I don't understand. And complaining that I don't do chores or cook, even though I would if she just told me what she needed done. To end it, I said whatever. You're not gonna listen to me anyways. I'm done talking to you. Good night. Then we just wordlessly went to sleep. It's been a day and a half and she hasn't spoken to me much, but she says she's waiting for an apology and to talk about it. I don't think I went over the line, and I don't think there's really that much to talk about. I'm still so hurt that she would say she doesn't respect me. Reddit, am I the asshole? Oh my f***ing god. I want to punch this guy. You see, this is the type of am I the devil story that really gets my blood pumping. But before we get into my thoughts about it, we have an edit. I do some chores without communicating with her, but she's very particular about how she likes the house to be, and I'm just not as picky. What you've been saying about doing it without asking makes sense. I just fear I'll do it wrong. Thank you all for commenting. Okay, first of all, depending on how dedicated you are to this mobile game, you knew when the fuck the deadline for the game was. Why are you waiting until it's 20 minutes before you're supposed to go to bed? Ideally, the amount of time that you were supposed to make the cheese and crackers you promised to your girlfriend to spend 50 minutes on the game. Was there really no time to play it tomorrow? Was there really no time to play it earlier on in the day? I play mobile games. Typically, all the time limited events, you have at least a week, some of them 2, sometimes a whole month. You didn't have to wait until it was time to make the cheese and crackers, because I'm assuming making the cheese and crackers would have taken about 5 minutes. Eating them, depending on how many you make, would have taken maybe another 5 to 10 minutes. And then of course you have to clean it up because you can't go to bed with a dirty kitchen. That takes up all your 20 minutes. Why did you choose right then and there? You're dumb for that. Next thing you're dumb for. Girlfriend says, hey, can you please make our snacks? We have to go to bed soon, which you knew because you guys obviously have a set time that you go to bed, and yet you still kept deciding to play. I have a sneaking suspicion, by the way, that it wasn't even just 50 minutes, but I have no proof of that. That's just my suspicions. So we're gonna move on. Additionally, what do you feel hurt for? The part where you're like, I felt really rushed and hurt. Okay, I understand feeling rushed. Your fault for being in the situation to be rushed in the first place, but what the f are you hurt about? The way your brain works doesn't make any motherfucking sense to me. I could potentially see the argument of why didn't the girlfriend make the cheese and crackers? But I don't think that's the main point of this story, because then you go on to explain how yes, you do chores, but also you don't really do chores because your girlfriend likes them a certain way. So, and you're terrified of just doing it wrong. So you just, what exactly did you say? The part about, yes, I can do it without her asking, I'll just fear I'll do it wrong. It just makes it seem like you don't really do chores. You leave it for her to do it. I'm assuming all she really wanted you to do that night was make cheese and crackers. And then last point I'm gonna tackle, because this is the part that really pissed me off. I have some sort of mysterious illness that gets worse when I don't sleep very well or when I don't sleep for long enough. I can understand some of the pain and discomfort that your girlfriend may feel, and you refer to it as a chronic health condition thing. Very blasé, very I don't really give a fuck about it. This post just screams, I don't give a fuck about my girlfriend. I don't give a fuck about my girlfriend's time, my girlfriend's energy, my girlfriend's chronic illness. But I'm hurt because she doesn't respect the fact that I don't respect her. You're the asshole. Divorce. I hope the girlfriend takes everything in the divorce. And I hope you're single for the rest of your life. What do you guys think about this one? Personally, great passionate start to this. I got to do a little silly voice and everything. I'm so hyped for the rest of these. Next story is, am I the asshole for resenting my girlfriend for bringing her guy friend to a girl best friend's wedding instead of me? There are a few circumstances where I think that you might not be the asshole, but you're on r/am I the devil. So yes, you are the asshole. Moving on. My girlfriend and I have been in a relationship for 1 month and talking for 3. Oh, you're definitely the asshole. Calm your tits. I live in a rural southern area and she lives in a major city 7 hours north, but I make enough money that I can fly up there comfortably to see her the whole weekend, plus days off every 2 or so weeks depending on our schedule. So even though we're long distance, we see each other about as often as a normal couple. She has a close guy friend. Let's call him AB. I'm just gonna call him Alfred. I feel like he gives me unnecessary competition. Anytime I've been paranoid about Alfred or other men, she reassured me by offering to let me go through her phone without asking for mine in return. She says she has no eyes for other men, and that if she wanted to be with men who have been in her life before me, she would have done it already. Alfred was a Bumble date that resulted in a mutual agreement to just be friends. She said that he's not her type the first time she brought him up, though he is, and she says she's never slept with him. She hung out with him drunk one time when we were talking. Posting him to her story with hearts without his knowledge before me. Despite constantly flaking on her and only wanting to see her while she's drunk, she pushes for a double date with him to this day, mentioning him in conversation when she feels it's relevant. One day at the mall, she told me she's going to her girl best friend's wedding soon, and she needs to buy clothes for it. She hasn't told me about this or given me any details, so I asked myself. I asked if she was going alone as a bridesmaid, and she said no. I asked who she's bringing, and she said Alfred. I asked if I could come, but she says she wants me to meet her girl best friend outside of her wedding, because that's an awkward place to meet. She says she's already known Alfred for a year or two, whereas she's known me for a much shorter period of time, and her best friend has known and hung out with him about the same amount of time she has. She also says she planned it months before we started talking. She didn't mention anything about our distance. I told her that going with Alfred deeply bothers me, and she gave me the silent treatment. I asked her not to send any pictures of her with him at the wedding. She complied. On the day of the wedding in her area, the temperature was 72 to 75 degrees. Her bridesmaid's dress was very thin. She sent me a picture of her wearing his suit jacket, so I asked with a neutral face and no negative tone if she was wearing Alfred's suit jacket. She sent me a picture with the scrutinous look saying yes, she got cold. I assume she did since they probably had the AC on blast. She told me she skipped the dance with him, spent the last 2 hours drinking water to get sober, and sent me a picture of her face in her room at her parents' house where she stays, where no men are allowed at the end of the night. However, I still resent her deeply for this, though I don't show it. Despite the explanation she gave me and her behavior at the wedding, am I the asshole? Yes, you're the asshole. Brother, you've been dating for a month. You've known her for 5 total, and she has gone out of her way multiple times, constantly and consistently, to prove to you that she's not cheating. I get being insecure about you're friends with somebody who's your type, who you went on a Bumble date with the intention of dating, but then you just turn out to be friends. But then also the whole heart ice thing, I understand being insecure about that. I too would feel a little iffy about that. But apart from that, your girlfriend has given reasonable explanations for everything. Meeting somebody at a wedding, especially somebody's best friend, you guys have only been together for a month, that is not the proper place to meet somebody. Majority of the time, I'm pretty sure it's a common thing for weddings. I haven't been to any weddings yet, but I'm pretty sure it's a common thing for weddings to where people don't want one-time partners to be at the wedding, especially if you are a bridesmaid or like your bridesmaid is bringing somebody they've only known for like a month. The plans were already established months before she met you. I don't know. I am kind of sick of this story because I read this a lot slower than I intended to. So why don't you guys tell me what you guys think in the comments below, you guys? Come on, you guys. What do you guys think? You guys? Okay, let me stop. God. All the stories seem to be from assholes. asshole guys today.
Like, I don't mind doing this voice, because it's kind of funny, and I think it would be funnier if you guys could see the face I was making while doing this voice.
But I'm getting a little sick and tired of doing it, to be honest. Next story is...
Am I the asshole for mentioning my daughter's and wife's period on my YouTube channel?
Yes, 110%.
I'm a tech YouTuber and I have a channel that is primarily focused on tech, building PCs, and water cooling. I recently made a video to answer questions about upgrading now versus waiting for next generation products. And in the introduction, I gave an analogy that mentioned how sometimes people's upgrade cycles tend to sync up, like near the start of the pandemic when many people wanted new parts followed by lower demand prices because people had already upgraded and have good enough parts. The analogy I gave was about how women tend to live together and their periods sync up. And I mentioned that I should know because I have 2 daughters and a wife.
Sorry to interrupt this, but I'm genuinely surprised that with your dumbass thought process to not only say this, I'm going to assume, script this, say this, edit this, rewatch the video before you upload it to check for mistakes, and upload this. That dumbass thought process did not stop you from saying that dumbass shit that you somehow got laid. But we're gonna move on.
I did not consult with my wife before saying this, and she recently watched it, and now both her and my daughters are upset at me for mentioning their cycles, although I don't understand how that is wrong, as it is a natural thing. Am I the asshole here?
Yes, you're the asshole. There are so many other fucking analogies you could have used, but instead you decided,
my wife and daughters bleed at the same time every month, and then they don't at other times in the month.
That is a horrible fucking analogy for that. That's an awful analogy for that. You gave an example of a cycle. Sure, but you didn't give an equivalent example to the buying cycle of computer parts. As somebody who has a uterus that bleeds, I don't understand your logic. Do you have logic? I highly fucking doubt it. I genuinely doubt it. I think you need to update your logic module because, oh my god. Actually, I should probably just stop talking on this one because I'm getting really angry and I'm like this close to going to r/creative insults and it's really not that serious. So I'm gonna leave this one to you guys. What do you guys think? Also, periods don't sync up, asshole. I will admit, that is something that I have learned myself today. Yeah, we're gonna move on from that one.
Am I the asshole for making my daughter babysit her brother, even though she had an assignment due? It was just me, 42 male, with my daughter 16F and my son 18 male. Since her mother was abroad at the time and I had to travel to a different city, I asked her to take care of her brother until I returned. My trip would just be a day trip, so I'll be back by 8 p.m. at the latest. I asked her on Monday that she watch him on Thursday, so that she knew in advance and could plan. I said I would be back around 2 to drop off her brother, eat lunch, and then go, so she might see me. On the Thursday, she told me that she couldn't watch her brother because she had an assignment due, and she was already severely behind. I asked when she got the assignment, and she said the previous Friday. So I said, well, that's poor time management, and there's nothing I can do now. So I left to travel to the other city. When I got back around 7:45 p.m., she asked me to write to the teacher requesting an extension. I told her no. That's her own poor time management that led here. Now her mom is saying I should at least try and help her since she helped me, but I think it's her own actions that led her here. Edit, perhaps I need to clarify some things. She asked as I was leaving the house, so for me to find someone and take my son there would take way too long. 2, I'm not going to email her teacher because she's blaming me for her not finishing her assignment when she's the one who mismanaged her time. 3, she's not constantly caring for him. This is maybe the 3rd time this year.
Okay, you're the asshole. Teenagers are notoriously bad at time management. With her being assigned the assignment on Friday, and her having Saturday, Sunday, and it now being Thursday, I understand why you feel like she could have gotten it done by then. However, I can also completely understand why the teenager, a person who is actively learning how to be an adult and actively learning how to time manage, would have difficulty getting the assignment done on time. Additionally, I don't know how active your 8-year-old is. I don't know how much it requires to watch an 8-year-old. I haven't watched an 8-year-old since I was like 13. Like, I don't know. She took time out of her day even if she didn't have the assignment, assuming she just had something else randomly to do and she needed you to contact her teachers and say, hey, I need a little bit more time because I had to deal with the family situation. That email, it's one sentence and it doesn't take you that long to write up. Why is that too much to ask for from you? But 5 to 6 hours of her time is perfectly okay for you to ask of her. Like, I don't know. I'm tired and I'm not wording my opinions on this properly. I probably definitely shouldn't be recording a video right now. But, yeah. I'm sure that you guys understand what I'm trying to say, hopefully. I don't know. My thoughts aren't thoughting. My formulas ain't formulating. Let me know what you guys think about this one. This is where I'm gonna end the video because I just don't really feel like talking shit about people anymore. I hope that you guys enjoyed talking shit about people with me. But before you go, here's a little thing to hopefully bring a little smile to your face after all that negativity. From r/spreadsmile, we have a post talking about, I'll just read it. After actor Jack Benny's death, his widow Mary began receiving a red rose daily. When she inquired, the florist revealed that Benny had arranged for her to receive a rose every day for the rest of her life. And I think that that is really sweet and wholesome and adorable and cute. What a very nice way to say, even in the afterlife, I still love you. I don't know. I thought that was cute, a little bit heartwarming, and I hope you guys felt the same. Am I the asshole for forcefully bringing my boyfriend to our girls' trip after being told not to? So about 2 months ago, my two best friends, Katrina and Elena, 21, not their real names, and I, also 21, had made plans to go to Vegas for our 21st birthdays. Our birthdays are in a span of 2 months. We planned a 21-hour road trip from Texas to Vegas. Originally, we were going to fly, but they couldn't really afford to pay for everything we wanted to do and fly in such a short time. So I thought the next best thing was a road trip. We get to sightsee, it's cheaper the way I planned to get there, and we just had the time. About 2 weeks ago, I was talking to my boyfriend about the trip, and it was brought up that he has also never been to Vegas before. After a lot of thinking, I realized Katrina and Elena don't really know how to drive, and if we actually went on this trip, I would be the only one driving the whole 21 hours. I don't know about y'all, but I wouldn't want to be the only one driving 21 hours if I didn't have to. So I thought, not only would it be safer for him to be there with us, but I wouldn't have to drive by myself that far. Plus, he offered to pay for some of the excursions we wanted to do and some of the dinners if he could as a gift for letting him come along. Of course, I told him he didn't have to and it was unnecessary, but he insisted. When I told Kat I wanted to invite him, she freaked out and said this was a girls' trip, no guys the entire time, and to tell him no. She just wanted it to be us. To be honest, we had never called it a girls' trip. Originally, it was supposed to be a celebration for the three of us. I turned 21 a month ago and I just got my license in the middle of December. And Kat just turned 21 and graduated college early, and Elena just got promoted at work, so really didn't think it would be a big deal. After that conversation, I told them I wasn't comfortable driving the entire way there and that it wasn't fair for me to drive by myself and that I wouldn't go if he couldn't, or we could bring someone else who could help drive. But it had someone that I trusted to drive my car. They had no one else in mind, so my boyfriend came along. Unfortunately, during the trip, my boyfriend did end up paying for a bit of their things, even after I told him not to, because they kept kind of ignoring him until it was time to pay for the dinners. Though he has the money to pay, I didn't think they deserve it for how they were treating him. Now they won't talk to me much, considering all three of us are roommates, and they told some of our friends that they are upset with me for being the girl who brings her boyfriend on girls' trips, and that I brought him everywhere, and that we, us three girls, had no time alone together, and that I don't care and that I act annoyed when they bring it up. Mind you, I am annoyed. To be honest, I just wanted him to be included while we were together. And there were times during the trip he did buy stuff for himself and left us alone. And yes, we were all cool before this, but seriously, am I the asshole for this? Yes, you're the asshole. What makes you the devil, though, to land up on this subreddit is your entire behavior towards the situation. You should have considered before planning out everything the fact that your friends didn't have driver's licenses and made your plan from there. I feel like if your boyfriend was included from the very beginning, then your friends wouldn't be as upset at you. But that's not what you did. You decided, screw what everybody else wants, screw whatever's going on with my friends who are also celebrating their birthdays. What I want is to have my boyfriend there. That's it. So it makes sense that your friends are pissed off at you. And then, I don't know, you have some things you need to sort out, girly pop, in the most respectful way that I can say this possible, as I am just 1 year older than you. You're acting like you are still 16. So good luck with that. But that's just my opinion. What about you guys? What do you think about the situation and what's going on here? Let me know in the comments below. On to the next story. I, 30 male, am not sure if I'm being played by my it's complicated 26F. How do I talk to her about it? I'm using fake names to protect myself and the people in the situation. So last year, I got a very well-paying job in a new city that I'm enjoying. It's been a great fresh start, and I met and became friends with Marcus. Marcus is a great friend, and we are actually from the same area, and he's been introducing me to his friends, and I made great connections. He has this one guy who is his best friend, named Robert, and through Rob, I met Destiny. Destiny is so beautiful, and I didn't believe in love at first sight until I met her, but it was. I won't bore y'all with the details, but we started texting, and then that led to flirting, and to me confessing my love, and she professed her love too. Our relationship went from texting to physical. Also, important disclaimer, I don't consider Rob a friend. He's more of a mutual friend. Obviously, if he was my friend, this would be wrong. Ooh. No, I'm sorry. I tried to keep a straight face on that. The only way being a homewrecker is wrong and would be if I were to sleep with my friend's wife. That's the only way it's wrong. Yeah, okay, buddy. Sure, okay. When we first started texting, I didn't know she would feel this way, so I was delighted. But she was super inconsistent because I felt like it was one-sided. Rob has to travel sometimes for work, and when he does, that's when she's texting me. I expected her to divorce him like she said she would, but then makes every excuse in the book when I say to do it. They don't even have a kid yet, so it should be simple. I'll ask Rob how they're doing, and he will say great. He did say a couple of weeks ago, while things are great, he feels like things are one-sided in the marriage, that he will talk to her about a more equitable relationship so he's not doing most of the emotional labor, and things can be great for a while and go back to their old ways. But he's happy with her. I wanted to tell him, bro, I can relate more than you can imagine. Oh my god. Oh my god. Eventually I told her that I can't do this. I said, I want to be with you, but if we're doing this for our own sexual gratification, it's not right. It's not fair to me, and most importantly, it's not fair to Rob, because Rob loves that girl. He will be like, my wife this, my wife that. We can't have hypothetical conversations about other women because he would just be like, my wife. Like one time I told him hypothetically, if you could marry Meg the Stallion. Like one time I told him hypothetically, if you could marry Meg the Stallion. And before I could finish, he said, I don't want to marry anybody else but my wife and wouldn't trade her for anybody. So yeah, I won't do that to him. It's one thing if we are going to have a relationship, but I feel like she just wants sex, even though she says that she wants to be with me. We haven't done anything in a month since I said that, and she just sent me the song Dilemma. And it's like, girl, what do you want? I can't even focus at work right now. I really want to be with her, but man, oh my god. I don't even know what to say about this. Like, do I take the rage bait? I'm sorry. It's not funny that Rob is being cheated on. This genuinely fucking sucks for Rob. What's funny here is just OP's entire thought process. What do you mean? Oh, I'm sleeping with a married woman and she's prioritizing her husband over me. Oh, woe is me. Homie. You're wondering if you're being played. Meanwhile, you may not call Rob your friend, but you're asking him about his marriage, and he is, in some level, responding, which means that he considers you guys to be friends. I hope that Rob ends up finding out, so that way he can move on and find a better friend and a wife who loves him just as much as he very clearly loves his wife. OP, I don't know. What do you guys think? Any advice for OP? I'm gonna leave that there because I don't want to be meaner than I have to be. Moving on to the next story. Would I be the asshole for getting pet rats, even though my mother-in-law has extreme phobia of rodents? Unfortunately, yes. As much as I love the little guys, most people don't, and you have to keep that in mind. Unless your mother-in-law doesn't live there. But seeing as you're on Am I the Devil, I highly doubt that's the case. Continuing on with the story. Hi everyone. A friend of mine took in a pregnant pet rat to save her from becoming snake food. Now that she has had her litter of 9, my friend needs new homes to separate the male rats from the female rats. She would keep the girls, but the 4 boys have to find a new home. Now me, 23 female, and my partner, 29 male, of 4 years, have been planning on getting a pet for over a year. It didn't really matter which animal, we mainly wanted to take in a pet that is desperate and in need of a home. So this will be a great opportunity, and we are planning on taking these rats in. Now, onto the problem. When we told mother-in-law, 60 female, about our plan, she started sobbing and shaking uncontrollably, begging us not to get the rats. She's had a huge phobia of rodents all her life and has tried therapy but to no avail. We do live in an apartment far away from mother-in-law and she only visits 4 times a year at most, but the apartment does, on paper, belong to her, although she hasn't lived there in over a decade. We do not rent from her and have no lease that would state no pets are allowed. We do respect her fear, however, we feel like it's not reasonable to let her phobia of rodents get in the way of us taking in pets that need a home. So Reddit, would we be the asshole for taking in the pet rats regardless? Again, unfortunately, yes. While mother-in-law visits very rarely, that is indeed her home. I'm not sure how severe her phobia of rodents is, but I could predict a possibility where she just never enters the apartment again, even if you guys do end up moving out. So it sucks. I'm not going to comment on that any further. I'm not going to comment on the fact that you guys started dating when you were 19 and he was 24, which is I'm not gonna comment on that. If somebody doesn't want something in their house and you live in their house completely rent-free with no lease or anything, you would be the asshole for taking in those pet rats. But what about you guys? What do you think about the situation? I'm gonna leave that one there. And for our final story of today, we have, am I the asshole for having a crush on my friend's husband after what she told me? My 25 female friend, also 25 female, has been married to her husband, 29 male, for a little over a year, and they have a 6-month-old daughter. Our friend group meets up regularly for brunch or coffee just to talk and catch up. And a few weeks ago, we were talking about being a mom since one of our friends had recently announced that she is pregnant. My friend said that there are struggles, but her husband is incredibly supportive and helps make things easy for her. I've always thought her husband was physically attractive, but other than that, he seemed too busy with his demanding job and other things he's working toward to be an attentive husband or father. But my friend has been in love with him for a long time, so I never really bothered saying anything. The conversation made me see him in a different light, as someone who is actually a loving and supportive partner, and I haven't been able to stop thinking about him since. He is everything nice, he's successful, smart, handsome, makes a lot of money, he's loving and thoughtful, and genuinely a great partner, and I've definitely developed a crush on him. I know it's wrong, and it would hurt my friend, but I genuinely want him. I was at their place for coffee with our friends one evening, and I knew he would probably get home around the time we were there, and I wore something revealing, hoping he would notice me when he got home. But when he did get home, he just gave her a kiss and said hi, and we had a minute of small talk and nothing else. I tried to get his attention again at a small gathering at a different friend's place, and wore an outfit I knew he would like based on my friend's pictures with him, and thought we might exchange some looks or something, and still nothing from his side. And I have a feeling she caught me staring at him. If he ever showed me any interest, I know I would act on it, and it would destroy our friendship and their marriage. I'm still trying to think of other ways I could create opportunities for something to start between us. My friend and I have the same body type and physical features, so the attraction is definitely there. But I don't know how to actually initiate things with him without setting off alarms around her and our friends. It's genuinely so frustrating knowing that she's probably sleeping in his arms every night while I'm trying to figure out how to get his attention. Am I the asshole for feeling in this way? Girly pop, yes you are. Oh my god. First of all, you don't have a crush on the husband, you have a crush on the idealized version of him that you have made up in your head from the very little you know about him. It does not seem like you guys have a relationship or even talk at all. From my understanding, the dating scene out there sucks. Can't relate I don't peruse it very often. Happily in a relationship. Hypothetically speaking, right? If you were able to seduce your friend's husband, would he be the great, upstanding, caring, and attentive guy that you are pining after? No, I don't think he would. And then that would just cause a whole bunch of issues. There are plenty of fish in the sea, and from what I hear, a lot of fish aren't the type of fish that you're looking for. That sucks. However, I don't think the solution is trying to destroy your friend's marriage, especially seeing as you know she is pregnant. How Ariana Grande of you. Yeah, no, this is wow. I hope your friend finds out and like distances as much as possible, because I don't believe at this point in time that you deserve to have that friendship, because you suck as a friend. And I think that you need to do a bit more work on yourself before you deserve to have a partner like what you're pining after. But I'm not sure what that work is. Again, never been in your shoes before. So good luck with that. Wish you the very best. What about you guys? What do you think about what happened here? A lot of delusional original posters today, in my opinion. But for now, we're going to leave that there. Very excited to see you guys next time around. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell so we can hang out together a lot sooner. But in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.